Hello everyone, welcome to What If Deku Turned into Omega Flowey from Undertale Movie. Before we start, please go support Wixter12 for writing that awesome fanfic. What would happen if Izuku sacrificed his life to save his mother from a villain, only to come back as a flower with a shattered soul that can only feel apathy? This is Izuku's journey to becoming a hero and healing his broken soul. Chapter 1: Your Best Friend. Not all men are born equal. That was what Izuku learned from being quirkless. Bully 1: Hey guys, let's leave Deku here, we've had our filling of beatings. Bully 2: Yeah, let's go. Bully 3: See you tomorrow, Deku. Izuku struggled to get back. Katsuki: Hey Aizu, let me help. Izuku: Thanks Kaken. Katsuki: I can't believe them, they're never going to be heroes like that. Izuku: Yeah, but maybe I should just give up. Katsuki: Don't say that, Aizu, you will make a great hero someday. Izuku: Thanks Kaken, hey, I wanted to give you something. Izuku puts his hand in his pocket and pulls out a golden heart-shaped locket with the Delta rune on it. Izuku: I got one for both of us, I thought it could symbolize our strong friendship. Katsuki: Thanks Aizu, and no matter what happens we'll always be friends. As the years went by, Izuku started to get more confident in becoming a hero, but the bullying was causing his friendship with Katsuki to weaken. Katsuki still wanted Izuku to become a hero, but if he didn't play along with the tormentors the bullying would get worse. Now Izuku and Katsuki can only be friends outside of school. It was the final day of middle school and Izuku and Katsuki were heading home. When Izuku arrived, he saw a villain holding his mother hostage, and Eraserhead was trying to resolve the situation. Villain, stay back or I'll kill her. Izuku could tell that the villain was on edge and he only had one bullet left. If Eraserhead tried to attack, the villain could kill Inko, but if he didn't, then the villain will kill him. Villain, now stay there so I can kill you and be on my way. The villain fired, and then Aizawa's eyes widened as he saw a green-haired boy jump in the way of the bullet. Seeing this as an opportunity, he launches his scarf at the villain and incapacitates him. Inko, Izuku. Izuku lay on the flower bed and looked at Inko as he felt his pulse getting weaker by the second. Izuku: Mom, I'm sorry for being a burden. Inko: Honey, you were never a burden, I loved you and I didn't care what others thought. Izuku: Mom, tell Kaken I'm sorry I couldn't keep our promise. Izuku went limp and Inko cried, mourning the loss of her son, the only family she had left. Word about Izuku's death went out and Katsuki was struck the hardest. It had been days since Izuku's passing. Inko went to the flower bed to water them, but then she heard a voice, but wasn't just any voice, it was Izuku's. Mom. Inko thought it was just in her head, and then she heard it again, and this time she was certain it wasn't her imagination. Mom, please help me. Inko looked around the flower bed searching for the source of the voice, and she saw a single golden flower, but what was different about it was that it had a face. Inko, Izuku? Is that you? It's me, Mom. Inko could feel the sincerity in the flower's voice, there was no doubt it was Izuku. Izuku: Mom, what's happened to me? Inko: I'm not sure, honey, but we'll figure it out. Inko went inside and got a flower pot and spade. She dug up Izuku and put him in the pot. She then got into the car with Izuku and drove to the doctor. While they were there, the doctors performed some tests on the living flower and were shocked by the results. Doctor, Mrs. Midoriya, this flower is indeed your son. Inko felt happy, but she also had one question in mind. Inko: How did this happen? Doctor, we theorize that when Izuku was dying, his will to live and determination actually clung his soul to the flower he is currently inhabiting. Inko: So my baby is still alive. Doctor: But there is also some bad news. Inko became concerned about this. Doctor: Since he was dying at the time and he didn't know what he was doing, his soul shattered and is being put back together at a very slow pace. The doctor holds up a monitor showing Izuku's soul in its currently shattered state. Inko: Is that bad? Doctor: In a way, yes. The soul is responsible for holding on to emotions, and since Izuku's is shattered, he can't feel any emotions. The only thing he can feel as of this moment is apathy. Izuku, who was hearing the entire conversation, knew all too well what apathy means. Lack of interest, enthusiasm, or concern. In other words, he was emotionless. Doctor, it seems that the more his soul comes back together, the more of his emotions he regains, but that would take almost a full year and a half before his soul could finally be whole again. We also theories that the closer his soul gets to becoming whole, the more his body will change. Inko, I understand, Doctor. Inko picked Izuku up and headed back to the car. As they were driving home, Inko looked at Izuku. Inko, honey, I know this is going to be hard for you, but I want you to know I still love you all the same. Izuku, thanks, Mom, I just wish I could feel the same. Inko put Izuku in his bed and gave him some water before he finally went to sleep. Izuku, mine, I hope Kaken will still see me as his friend. Chapter 2, You're Not a Monster in Training. Izuku woke up the next morning, still without any emotions. Inko went to get Izuku and brought him to breakfast. While eating, Izuku learned something new. Not only was he photosynthesizing to get nutrients from sunlight, but he could still eat human food without a problem. He could also drink from either his mouth or through his roots. Izuku, hey Mom. Inko, yes sweetie. Izuku, I want to try something. Can you plant me in the garden for a bit? Inko was curious about what Izuku wanted to do, and so she did as instructed. After she was finished planting him, he started going underground and he popped up in a different location. This proved Izuku's theory, that he can move around by digging underground. Inko informed the Bakugos about Izuku's current state, and Katsuki decided to visit him. He arrived and saw Izuku looking down, without any visible emotion on his face. Katsuki, hey Izuku. Izuku looked at Katsuki and then back to the ground. Katsuki, Auntie told us about your situation. Izuku, yeah, she's so nice. If only I could feel happy for her. Katsuki then puts his hands in his pocket and puts something around Izuku's stem. He looked at it and saw that it was his locket. Izuku then looked at Katsuki and saw that he still had the locket Izuku gave him. Izuku, you kept it. Katsuki, I couldn't bring myself to get rid of it. Izuku, I know things are different, and I still want us to be heroes together. I'm not about to let my best friend give up on his dream of becoming a hero. Izuku, we promised each other that we would still be friends, no matter what. Izuku felt something inside him that he had lost. It was warm and pleasant, it was gratefulness. And for the first time in his new life, he smiled. Izuku, thank you, Kaken. Izuku asked Inko to put the locket around his pot since he knew that it wouldn't fit around his stem. The next morning, Izuku was bathing in the sunlight with Katsuki watching him when he heard 3 familiar voices and started to feel a new emotion, fear. It was the bullies. Bully 1, well looky here, the useless Deku really is just a worthless plant. Katsuki walked up to the boys irritated. Katsuki, what are you doing here? Bully 2, we're just here to teach this Deku a lesson. One of the bullies grabbed Izuku's stem and plucked one of his petals. Izuku screamed in pain and Katsuki punched the guy down. Bully 3, hey, you hit me! Bully 2, let's teach this loser a lesson. They started beating up Katsuki and Izuku watched in horror at the sight. In that instance, he felt his next emotion, powerlessness. Bully 1, haha, that'll teach you not to GUH? Katsuki and the bullies looked at Bully 1 and saw that a vine covered in red thorns was choking him. They then looked at Izuku, whose face was hidden by the shade of his petals, one of which grew back as well. At that moment Izuku felt but 2 emotions, anger and hatred. Izuku, how dare you! Izuku's face had changed, from a cute smiley face to a creepy face. White pupils were visible in his eyes, and he smiled from petal to petal, showing 4 fangs. Izuku, you absolute idiots! In an instant, white pellets and vines appeared and started attacking the bullies. All the while Izuku was laughing. Izuku's smile grew wider with his grip on the bullies getting tighter by the second. Katsuki, Izuku, stop, you're gonna kill them. Izuku then snapped back to reality, shocked at what he was doing, and he released the tormentors, who ran away scared for their lives. Then Izuku felt a new emotion, guilt, and he started crying, blaming himself for his actions. Izuku, I am a monster. Sniff, I could have killed them, and sniff, I wouldn't have felt anything. Katsuki hugged his friend, doing his best to calm him down. Katsuki, it's okay, you were trying to protect me, you didn't know what you were doing. You're not a monster, you're still human deep down. Izuku had finally calmed down, and Katsuki took him inside. Katsuki, Izuku, how do you feel? Izuku, much better, Kaken. Katsuki, I'd better head home now, take care of yourself, nerd. Izuku gave a small smile, and he rested his head against his pillow. For the next 10 months, Izuku had been training his new powers to get ready for UA. In that time he started getting more and more of his emotions back. Some were negative emotions like sadness, fear, anger, and embarrassment, while some were positive. Caring, excitement, bravery, hopefulness, curiosity, creativity, affection, but the only emotion that still eluded him was love. He could feel small amounts of it, but the feeling always faded away in an instant. Izuku realized that love was one of the most complicated emotions of all, and knew that it would take longer for him to regain his love. Because of what happened between Izuku and the bullies, he developed a habit of calling people who underestimated him or didn't know what they were doing idiots. Despite this, he also uses it as a friendly gesture to those that get hurt, protecting others and not caring about their own safety. Izuku had also physically changed in those 10 months. He grew leaves that acted like arms and feet for him that helped him walk, but he also used his roots as a method of mobility, and he also discovered that he had a bit of chlorokinesis. He was unable to control other plants, but he was able to control the vines and pellets, which he named friendliness pellets, using them as good attacks. The day had finally arrived for the UA entrance exam, and Izuku was defiantly excited. Izuku, hey Kaken. Katsuki, yes Izuku? Izuku, thanks for being there for me. Katsuki, no problem, are you sure you're fine not taking the practical? Izuku, I'm fine, and even if I wanted to, those robots would just step on me and I won't get in if I died again. I am thankful that Erasure had recommended me, even after everything. Katsuki, well, you did save him from getting killed by a villain. Izuku, yeah, even if I died doing it. They shared a laugh and parted ways. Chapter 4, Recommendation and First Day. Izuku had arrived at the observation booth after completing the written exam. Once there, he saw all the different UA staff: Eraserhead, Vlad King, Recovery Girl, Snipe, Ectoplasm, Lunch Rush, Midnight, Present Mike 13, Power Loader, Cementos, Hound Dog, and UA's principal, Niza. There was one person that Izuku didn't recognize. It was a skinny man with blonde hair that looked like a skeleton. Despite that, he was internally fanboying about all the heroes in the room but kept his composure so as to not embarrass himself. Izuku, mine, I can't believe I'm with so many heroes. Calm down, Izuku. Izuku turns to the other recommended students. One had white hair on his right side, and red hair on his left side. He also had a burned scar over his left eye. Another was a raven-haired girl with her hair tied in a ponytail. Izuku, hey, I'm Izuku Midoriya. Momo, oh, I'm Momo Yaorosa, nice to meet you. Shoto, and I'm Shoto Todoroki. Izuku looked at Aizawa, who gave a small smile. Izuku watched how all the students do the exam. As he was watching, Niza pushed a big red button that released the zero-pointer robots. Izuku watched as they destroyed the cities and no one went to help the other students. Izuku, mind what idiots, they're only caring about their own safety and not the safety of those around them. Izuku saw one of the zero-pointers go berserk and could tell the teachers weren't in control of it. He then jumps down from his chair, roots himself to the ground and burrows all the way to that zero-pointer. Once there, he sees a brown-haired girl trapped under debris. Izuku then summoned his vines to ensnare the robot and crush it. He then helps remove the debris and helps carry the girl to Recovery Girl. RG, I'm proud of you, little one, you managed to save this girl from the zero-pointer. Izuku, well, I wasn't just going to stay in the observation room and let her get killed. What kind of hero would I be if I just allowed it? RG, regardless, even if you took the exam or not, you did really good. Yes, thank you for saving me. Izuku, no problem. Izuku then returned to the observation booth where most of the faculty was surprised at how easily he defeated the 0-pointer. 1 week later it was the first day, and Izuku headed to class. Izuku, mind Kaken must have come early, I'd better get to class before the teacher gets mad. Izuku arrives at his class and is surprised to see how big the door was. Izuku, compared to my original size, this is a big door. Izuku used one of his vines to push the door open and was glad to see Katsuki in his class. Izuku, hey Kaken. Katsuki, Izuku, glad you made it. Izuku, well, I didn't want to be late on my first day. Ida, excuse me, but this is a hero school, not a kindergarten. Izuku, I know that, you idiot. That sudden outburst frightened all those present. Izuku then calms down. Izuku, sorry, I just don't like how people think I'm a kid when I'm actually 14 years old. Ida, oh, apologies, with your height I thought you were a child. Izuku, it's okay, just don't try to assume things without getting any confirmation about it. Izuku heads to his seat and the brown-haired girl smiled at him, making Izuku unknowingly blush, and felt a slight sting in his soul, but it soon passed. Then Aizawa came out from behind the desk in his yellow sleeping bag. Aizawa, alright everyone take your seats. My name is Shota Aizawa, but some of you might know me as the underground hero Eraserhead, and I'm going to be your homeroom teacher for the next 3 years. He pulls out a box with gym clothes in it. Now, put these on and meet me outside. I am also aware that because of one student's current situation they don't have to put on a uniform. Izuku, thank you sir, also if anyone's going to ask about orientation, you can forget it. This is his class and he can run it how he wants. Izuku used his roots to carry him outside where Aizawa announced that they were going to do a Quirk Apprehension. Chapter 5, Quirk Apprehension and Introductions. Everyone was outside taking turns in the Quirk Apprehension. Finally, it was Izuku's turn. He got himself into the circle and grabbed the ball with one of his vines. Izuku, mind okay, think about how are you going to get it far. Aha, got it. Izuku coiled his vine into a spring and launched the ball with all his strength, then he used a group of friendliness pallets to get an even further distance. Aizawa, not bad, you got about an average distance, well done. Izuku, thank you sensei. Aizawa, alright everyone, back to class. Everyone got changed and headed back to class. Aizawa, okay, you are free to introduce yourselves, and wake me up once you're done. Aizawa gets into his sleeping bag and goes to sleep behind his desk. Everyone took turns introducing themselves and their quirks, and it was finally Izuku's turn. Izuku, hello, my name is Izuku Midoriya, and I technically don't have a quirk. Achiko, what do you mean technically? Izuku then explains what happened in his past, how he saved Aizawa from getting shot at, how he was brought back as a flower, and what he can do. Aijiro, I'm sorry to hear that, bro. Izuku, it's okay, it's all in the past, and in a way, it made me a better person. Anyway, sensei, we're done. Aizawa, alright, since this is your first day you are free to go home, but be sure to come early for classes. Everyone headed home and got some rest for the next day. Izuku was really happy to be in his dream school and couldn't wait till tomorrow. Chapter 6, Hero Training and Class Representative. The day went like normal for Class 1A. They had English with Present Mike, Modern Hero Arts History with Midnight, and Mathematics with Ectoplasm. Most of the students were disappointed that they weren't doing any actual hero work, but some knew that despite it being a hero school, it was still a school where they had to learn. In third period in class, they heard loud footsteps approaching the classroom, and to everyone's surprise, the person who walked in was none other than the number 1 hero himself, Almight. I am here, entering like a hero. Class 1A, Almight. Everyone was really excited that Almight was their new teacher, but Izuku was a bit confused since he didn't see Almight in the observation booth during the entrance exam. But he paid no mind to it. Almight announced that they will be doing hero training at Ground Beta. Everyone was wearing their hero costumes, except for Izuku's since well you know why. I must say you all look plus ultra. They say the clothes make the man and you are the proof. We now go to Izuku and Achiko's match. They were facing off against Momo and Mineta. Achiko, hey Midoriya, do you have a plan? Izuku, yes, Mineta needs to pull the balls off of his head, and Momo clearly needs to be able to create the objects from her chest, so if I can restrain them with my vines that could give you a chance to touch the bomb. Achiko, good idea Midoriya. Izuku, please call me Izuku. Achiko, okay, then you can call me Achiko. The plan worked perfectly. Once they found Momo and Mineta, Izuku used his vines to capture them. By also burrowing, he was able to avoid Mineta's balls and Momo's traps to give Achiko the chance to touch the bomb. We now go to the next day when Mr. Aizawa was going to make an announcement. Aizawa, alright everyone, today you will be choosing a class representative. Now I know that some of you will probably just vote for yourselves, so whoever has the most votes will become the class representative. Everything went the same as canon, with Ida becoming the class representative and Momo becoming the vice representative. Aizawa announces that they are going to the USJ. Everyone is in the cafeteria, they have lunch, the alarm goes off, and they all head back to class. However, something didn't sit well with Izuku. Izuku, mind how could reporters get into UA, and there is no way they have a quirk that can do that. I have a feeling that things will get a lot more complicated at the USJ. Chapter 7, Omega Izuku and Regaining Love. The class was heading to the USJ and Izuku was thinking to himself. But he soon came out of it when Tsu shaked him. Tsu, hey Midoriya, are you okay? Izuku, oh yeah, I was just thinking to myself a bit. Was there anything you wanted to ask? Tsu, well, I usually speak my mind, but are there any other things you can do apart from what you told us? Izuku, actually now that I remember, ever since I came back I also developed a new type of ability that allows me to see other people's souls and their traits. Tsu, traits? Izuku, basically something unique to that person. There are a lot of soul traits, but there are only 7 well-known ones. First is cyan, which represents patience, then there's green, which represents kindness, then blue, which represents integrity, orange, which represents bravery, purple, which represents perseverance, and yellow represents justice. Tsu, but those are only 6, what's the 7th? Izuku, that one is a bit harder to explain. The soul I'm referring to is a red soul. It actually represents more than one thing, but what it mainly represents is determination. It's also said that those who possess strong determination are able to manipulate time, such as returning to a point in time before they get killed or start from the beginning, almost like a save, load, and reset function of a video game. Tsu, wow, that sounds cool. Fumikage, so what's yours? Izuku, I've actually been wondering that myself. When my soul shattered, the color that it represented faded almost like it leaked out of me, and the skin only showed what it currently was, a gray soul, which actually indicates that the soul was drained of its trait, so I don't know what mine was before I became like this. But I'm hoping that once I regained my love, my soul trait would also return. They arrive at the USJ and get off the bus. Once there they meet Space Hero 13, who gives a detailed explanation about how her quirk works and the danger that comes with it. This time, however, Izuku was not one of the students who got separated by Kurogyri. Izuku managed to restrain Kurogyri using his vines to prevent him from warping away and also injuring 13. Izuku, Ida, I need you to get the teachers. I won't be able to hold him for long. Ida, okay. Ida then rushed out of the building to inform the teachers. Izuku, Siro, can you restrain him while I go and help Sensei? Siro, no problem. Siro then wraps the villain up and Izuku goes to help Aizawa. They are now face to face with the Nomu, and what Izuku saw shocked him. Izuku, it doesn't have a soul. Aizawa heard this and understood what Izuku meant. This creature didn't have a soul, because it wasn't alive to begin with. It was a reanimated corpse. While fighting the behemoth, Aizawa got badly injured and Izuku was down to his last amount of strength. Just as all hope was lost, the doors burst open and All Might walked in. I am here, and I am angry. All Might charged at the Nomu and began to fight it, but All Might was running out of steam. Izuku conjured up what little strength he had left to protect the wounded heroes. Shigaraki, Nomu, kill them. The Nomu attacked, but then a blinding light enveloped Izuku. Izuku, I will protect everyone. The light faded and they saw Izuku had turned into a computer monitor. But what happened next amazed everyone present as it eventually grew a large body with massive arms and dozens of vines. Once the transformation was complete, Izuku's face appeared on the monitor, and he looked angry. Omega Izuku, how dare you attack my class? Well, then I'll just have to deal with your little creation. Small plants grew from the arms, and the tops took the form of finger guns that shot at the Nomu. This was followed by flamethrowers burning the arms. And then 2 Venus flytraps appeared and started ripping off the arms. This was followed by a bunch of napalm bombs dropping from the vines latched to the ceiling. And then came out a bunch of plants that seemed to surround the creature and vines piercing through the creature's body. Then of the eyes came a barrage of friendliness pellets that were in the shape of throwing stars. Omega Izuku, mind it keeps regenerating, and that shock absorption isn't making it easier. If only I could end this with just a large attack. Wait, that's it. Omega Izuku then fired a laser out of his second mouth, then attacked it with the vines. These 2 attacks repeated themselves again, and again, and again, and again. And it got faster every time it happened. The creature was finally worn out, and Omega Izuku was ready to deliver the finishing blow. He knew that this thing wasn't alive, and so he knew that he needed to kill it. Omega Izuku, mind if you still had a soul, I hope it finds peace in the afterlife. He surrounded the Nomu in friendliness pellets, and then he killed it. The class cheered for Izuku's victory. Shigaraki, no. That Nomu was created to kill Almight. How could it lose to you? Omega Izuku, the answer is simple, I'm just more powerful than him. Izuku then glared at the villain, sending shivers down his spine. He tried to escape, but Aizawa managed to trap him in his scarf. Izuku then began to shine a faint glow, and once it faded he was in a more humanoid form. His petals formed into hair, his vines and leaves covered his body, with the vines forming into limbs and the leaves covering his body acted like skin and clothing. Katsuki ran down to his friend. Katsuki, Izuku, are you alright? Izuku smiled and hugged his friend. Izuku, better than alright Kaken, I can feel love again. This surprised Katsuki and they celebrated this new development. The students joined in and were happy that their friend could feel love again. Achiko, I'm so happy for you, Aizu. Izuku, Aizu? Achiko, oh, I'm sorry, it just. Izuku, it's okay, it's just that Kaken hasn't called me that since we were little. Katsuki, well, we were just kids, the reason why he doesn't stop calling me Kaken is because I kind of stuck with it. But don't worry, you can call him Aizu if you want. Achiko blushed at the thought and hugged Izuku tightly. When Izuku returned home, he told Inko about regaining his love, and she was so happy that her son could feel love again. But the one that was the happiest was Izuku himself. Chapter 8: Announcement and Dorms. Izuku put on his uniform and his locket, and was ready to go back to school. It did feel weird for him to wear actual clothing after such a long time, but he eventually grew accustomed to it. Inko even made Izuku a hero costume for when he is training or doing hero work. It's the same as his canon hero suit. When he arrived, the class welcomed him with open arms. Izuku, thanks guys, I'm glad you're all doing well too. Tokoemi, hey Midoriya, did you check what your soul trait was when you went home? Izuku, oh yes, let me show you. Izuku held his hand over his chest and a heart appeared. It was red in color, but what made it different was that there was a smaller white heart in the center. Aijiro, wow Midobro, that's amazing, but why does it look like that? Izuku, I had a theory that my soul was originally red. The doctor said that one of the reasons my soul latched onto the flower was because of my determination. While I was studying more about souls, I learned about white souls. White also has multiple representations, but they mainly represent purity or hope. So my guess is that the hope that I held onto while my soul was still healing got infused with my soul, which is why a part of my soul is white. Momo, so essentially your soul trait is hopeful determination. Izuku, exactly. The entire class was amazed by this development, apart from Shoto, who just looked out the window. The door opened and Aizawa walked in covered in bandages. Aizawa, alright everyone, take your seats. Ida, sir, shouldn't you be resting? Aizawa, my well-being is not your concern, villains don't rest, and neither will we. Now, I have an announcement. The UE Sports Festival will be in 2 weeks, so you have the next 2 weeks off to train. Also, because of the attack, the principal has decided to put up a dorm system for your own safety. We already received your parents' signatures and you will have until tomorrow to bring your belongings. Everyone was excited about this and returned home. However, something didn't sit well with Izuku. He wondered how the villains knew about the USJ. They somehow knew which file they needed from the records room, but how did they know which event they were holding at the time? Izuku eventually came to the conclusion that there was a mole in their class. He did tell Nizu about this, and decided to put in his own safety precautions. Flashback to about 3 days before Izuku returned to class. Izuku was resting by a river near his house thinking about what he could now do with his newly healed soul. Izuku, I wonder what I can do now that I have my soul. Izuku thought for a while until he heard the same sentence he spoke, only it sounded like an echo. Izuku, hello? Hello? Izuku looked in the direction of the sound and saw a light blue flower that seemed to emit a faint glow. He said hello again, and this time he heard the flower repeat the sound. Izuku then remembered something from a book on flora that he read about a blue flower called an echo flower. A flower that grows near rivers and streams, that has the ability to repeat the last sounds they have been exposed to, similar to an echo. Izuku was amazed by this discovery, and decided to take one home with him. Back to the present. Izuku decided to take some echo flowers and give them to his classmates as gifts once they finished setting up their dorms. The next day everyone arrived at the new dorms and started setting up their rooms. After they held the dorm contest, Izuku presented the class with their own echo flowers, but he didn't tell them what type of flowers they were. While in his room, Izuku did some studies of his own echo flower to see if he could somehow replicate the same process he went through when he came back to life, only this time planning to give the flower an artificial soul with the help of the support course and Nizu. Ever since Izuku regained most of his emotions, he wanted to see if it was possible to give something without a soul life. But after he regained his love, he wanted to also give the flower its own independence, and will to make the right choices. Chapter 9: Sports Festival and Awakening the Soul Traits. Izuku's training not only prepared him for the festival but also helped him learn a new moveset. He also learned how to shift between his flower form and his humanoid form. His chlorokinesis also evolved, allowing him to control other plants in a large area such as a forest. He also learned how to shift to his new form, which he's named Omega Izuku, and a more humanoid version of this form. He also learned that he can do the same attacks similar to what happened at the USJ, only more restricted to his various forms. This also made it difficult to do when he's wearing clothing. He pitched the idea to the support course, and they told him they should have a solution after a few days. The day of the sports festival has finally arrived, and Izuku lined up with his entire class. Izuku, I hope everyone does their best. Achiko, I'm sure we will. Shoto then walks up to Izuku. Izuku, you wanted something, Todoroki? Shoto, I just want you to know that I will defeat you. Izuku was confused about this. He knew that something was wrong with Shoto, but he could sense in his tone that he wanted to try and prove something. But he snapped back to reality when the class was called out. Now I'm going to do a time skip to the fights. The reason is that I don't want to spend too much time writing about the events, but I'll try to cut it short. Izuku managed to avoid the robots and Shoto's ice attack by burrowing underground. At the fall, he used his vines to swing to the other side, and then he burrowed under the mines and reached the finish line. During the cavalry battle, Izuku used save and load to return to any previous point before one of his team lost the headband. He also used the vines to stop the teams that were attacking them from moving so they could get to safety. Now let's get to Izuku's fight with Shinso. Shinso, it must be nice having such a strong quirk. Izuku, actually, I wasn't born with it. Shinso, what? Why isn't my quirk working? Izuku, maybe because it doesn't work on flowers. Izuku says as he shifts to his flower form and grabs Shinso with his vines. Izuku, I wasn't born like this. I died protecting Eraserhead and came back like this. You might think I'm lucky, but you don't know what it was like not being able to feel a thing. No anger, no sadness, no happiness, and no love. It was torture, and because I didn't have any emotions, there would have been nothing stopping me from doing something I would regret. Shinso looked into Izuku's eyes and understood what he meant. If Izuku didn't have his emotions, he might have ended up killing someone and not feeling anything at the time. Shinso, I'm sorry. Izuku, it's okay, but don't think that your quirk isn't nice. I think you'd make a great hero. Shinso smiled at the boy's kindness. Shinso, thank you. Ms. Midnight, I forfeit the match. Midnight, are you sure? Shinso, yeah, I'm sure. Shinso hugged Izuku and left the stadium. Izuku was eating lunch when Shoto asked to talk to him. Izuku agreed and followed his classmate to an empty hallway. Once there, Shoto explains his past, and all the things Endeavor did. Shoto, and that's why I'll never use my fire. Izuku gave Shoto an unamused look and then spoke. Izuku, I see, I have to agree, I didn't think that the number 2 hero would do something like that, but Shoto, you do realize you're just going to end up hurting yourself. Shoto, what do you mean? Izuku, if you use one side for too long it will end up hurting you. By only using your ice side and not your fire you'll end up freezing to death. And wouldn't doing this prove your father right? Shoto, no, I will defeat you with my ice, and I will prove him wrong. Izuku, suit yourself, but no, if you're not going all out, then neither will I. Shoto stormed off while Izuku thought to himself for a bit. Flashback to about 1 week ago. Izuku was in the garden using one of his vines to water himself, and got some energy from the sun. Izuku, it's so relaxing, getting a nice morning shower and getting some extra energy. He was enjoying the day until he saw a boy with black hair and lots of scars. He went into his humanoid form and went to talk to him. Izuku, excuse me, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine, just thinking. Izuku, about what? My brother, maybe you know him, goes by the name Shoto Todoroki. Izuku was surprised to hear this. The boy he was talking to was none other than Tuya Todoroki, Shoto's deceased older brother. Izuku, oh yeah, he's my classmate, why are you thinking about him? Tuya, I'm just worried about him. I'd been hearing about Dad abusing the family and training Sho into becoming his masterpiece, to surpass Almight. Izuku, now that I think about it, he hasn't talked much about his relationship with his father, his siblings, and his mother, but not him. Tuya, hey, I want to ask you a favor. Izuku, sure, what do you need? Tuya, I want you to help Shoto use his fire. He keeps saying that it's his quirk, and if you can, expose Endeavor for what he has done. Izuku, I'll see what I can do, and I'll tell Shoto hi for you. Tuya, thanks, kid. Back to present. Izuku puts his hands in the leaves covering his chest and pulls out a tape recorder. Izuku, mind, don't worry, Tuya. With this we can put an end to his career. Izuku then heads to Nisa's office and gives him the evidence, and plans to expose Endeavor after the award ceremony. He then heads out to the arena, only to be stopped by Endeavor. Endeavor, hey, you're that Midoriya kid, right? Izuku, yes, what do you want? Izuku was doing his best to keep his composure to not straight up kill Endeavor for what he did to his classmate. Endeavor, I want you to get Shoto to use his fire. Izuku, and why is that? Izuku was secretly getting his vines to spread through the hallway ready to capture and strangle Endeavor if he tried something. Endeavor, he's going through this phase, and I want you to try and get him riled up. Izuku, is that so? Well then here's what I say. Without a second thought, vines wrapped around Endeavor's body and were suffocating him. Izuku, do you think you can just walk up to me? Tell me to get my classmate to use his fire. And think that I didn't know what you were doing? Izuku's voice became more terrifying. Endeavor tried using his fire to burn the plants, but they didn't even catch fire. Izuku then gave his creepy expression and laughed as the vines got tighter by the second. Izuku, you idiot. Just as Izuku was about to put the man out of his misery, Midnight called Izuku, and he released Endeavor. Izuku, consider yourself lucky I'm being summoned. Oh, and if you tell anyone about this, I'll just end you on the spot, and if you saw what happened back at the USJ, then you know I'm not kidding. Izuku then walks to the arena, leaving the angry number 2 to himself. He didn't know what happened at the USJ and decided to attack Izuku after the festival. We now go to Izuku and Shoto's fight. Izuku knew Shoto was strong, but he didn't go all out unless Shoto did. Izuku, come on Shoto, use your fire. Shoto, never, I won't use his fire. Izuku, for the last time, it's not his, it's yours now, stop acting like a fool and fight me for real. Izuku then blocked a huge wave of flames and smiled. Shoto, thank you Midoriya, I needed that. Izuku, now then, allow me to return the favor. Izuku started glowing, and when it faded it revealed his humanoid Omega form. Izuku, now let's do this. Izuku and Shoto continued to exchange blows, with Izuku using his flamethrowers to counter Shoto's ice and blocking the flames with his vines, which developed an immunity to fire as a result of the flamethrowers. Eventually, Izuku finally managed to knock him out using his plants. Midnight, and the winner is Izuku Midoriya. Izuku, good match Todoroki. Shoto, thanks for helping me realize what I was doing. Izuku, no problem. Izuku leans over to Shoto's ear and whispers. Izuku, Tuya says hi. Shoto's eyes widened and he smiled. We now go to the final match. Izuku, don't go easy on me Kaken. Katsuki, I don't intend to. Katsuki charged up his quirk and Izuku got into his humanoid Omega form. Izuku starts by shooting star pellets and using his Venus flytraps to try and get Katsuki to mess up. He then followed this up with some weak napalm bombs that ended up damaging the arena, and he ended up with his vines. Izuku, do you yield? Katsuki, I yield. Midnight, and the winner of the Yui Sports Festival is Izuku Midoriya. Everyone cheered for Izuku's success as he escorts Katsuki to Recovery Girl. A few hours later, Izuku, Katsuki, and Shoto got to their places on the podium and All Might awarded them with their medals. Izuku, this is truly an honor. Thank you, sir. Izuku looked at a security camera and winked, signaling Niza to put on the evidence, and what was shown and heard made everyone turn on Endeavor. Izuku, this is your number 2 hero, everyone. Endeavor then charges at Izuku only for his petals to light up in 6 different colors. Izuku, I think it's time for your punishment, Faker. Izuku first activated the cyan petal and a swarm of knives surrounded and cut into Endeavor's body. Then Izuku activated the orange petal and large orange gloves appeared and beat up Endeavor. Then Izuku activated the blue petal and large dancing shoes appeared and began to crush and dance on Endeavor's body. Izuku then activated the purple petal and tones of insult started to appear and overwhelmed the already broke hero with negative comments and insults. Izuku then activated the green petal and frying pans appeared and began dropping fire that seemed to burn Endeavor. Finally, Izuku activated the yellow petal and a large gun appeared as it began shooting at Endeavor, and he fell to the ground weakened and broken. The heroes came down and arrested Endeavor. They also thanked Izuku for exposing him, and they took the fake hero away. Chapter 10: The Flower with a Soul. Izuku was in Recovery Girl's office lying on an operating table with a syringe in his soul. RG, are you sure about this? We could accidentally end up killing you. Izuku, I'm sure. I want to at least know if my experiment works or not. I'm ready for it. Recovery Girl then starts extracting some of Izuku's soul traits. He did feel a bit of pain, but he endured it. Once she was done, she removed the syringe and Izuku's soul began to heal itself as he climbed off the operating table. Izuku, alright, let's see if it works. Izuku takes out a small heart-shaped device the size of his soul and places it on the table. Recovery Girl gives Izuku the syringe and then injects it into the device. Izuku watches patiently as the device begins to react violently, and then it stops and returns to normal. Izuku, we did it. We created an artificial soul. Thank you, Recovery Girl. Izuku hugged Recovery Girl and she gave him a small kiss on his forehead. RG, no problem, dear, but try to be more careful in your endeavors. Izuku, I will, ma'am. Izuku then takes the artificial soul to his room and begins to operate on the Echo Flower. He made it so the device could infuse with whatever Izuku pairs it with, and the device allowed itself to get absorbed into the flower. Izuku decided to take a small rest to wait and see if anything changed since he was still tired from the procedure. Izuku lays down on his bed and shifts to his flower form to get some energy from the sun through his window while he rests. When he wakes up, he hears a soft yawn coming from the echo flower. He slowly approaches the flower and sees that it has a face and smiles. Credit to the artist. Izuku, mind it worked, the experiment was a success. Okay, calm down Izuku, you don't want to frighten them. Izuku, hi there, my name's Izuku, and I'm your Papa? Izuku froze at this. He wanted to tell the flower that he was their creator, but he never anticipated them to call him Papa. Izuku, I was going to say creator, but Papa sounds a lot better. Izuku smiled as he shifted to his humanoid form to the flower's surprise. Izuku, now what will I call you? Izuku thought to himself for a bit. He noticed that the flower sounded like a little boy, so he needed to think of a good name for it. And then it hit him. Izuku, what about Echo? Do you like that name? The flower, who only started learning to talk, just nodded and gave a cute smile. Izuku, then your name is Echo. Echo smiled and nuzzled against Izuku. Izuku then introduced Echo to the rest of the class, and the girls thought that he was really cute. As time went on, Echo started to learn how to speak after repeating the words from others like a normal echo flower. He even called Ochiko Mama, which made both her and Izuku blush. Because of this, they started dating and getting to know each other a lot better. Ochiko even started taking care of Echo like a loving mother. Luckily for Izuku, nobody apart from Ochiko, Katsuki, Inko, and the UA faculty knew how Izuku brought Echo to life, so the mole didn't report this. Chapter 11, Hero Names and Internship. Everyone was in class waiting for Aizawa to come to class. Just then the door opened and Aizawa walked in with all his bandages gone. Izuku, glad to see you're healed up, sir. Aizawa, thank you. Now the reason for the sports festival was for heroes to see what you are capable of and send you internships. You have until tomorrow to hand yours in, and you will also be choosing your hero names to help you with that. The door bursts open and Midnight walks in. Midnight, I'll be judging them. Now these hero names will be temporary, so if you wish to change yours, be sure to run it through a teacher. Everyone took their turns giving their hero names, and it was finally Izuku's turn. Izuku, I couldn't come up with a good one, so this should at least work until I can come up with a better one. Izuku turns over his board and announces his temporary hero name. Izuku, the flower hero, Flowey. Midnight, that's good Midoriya, and when you are ready to change it, just let us know what you want to change it to. Izuku, thank you sensei. After that, they all got their internships. Izuku decided to intern with Kamui Woods since he wanted to learn how to use his new abilities more effectively. Before he left, he dropped Echo off at Inko while he was away. Izuku, I'll be back in about 2 weeks, so you stay safe, Echo, okay? Echo, okay, Papa. Izuku hugged Echo and gave him to Inko. Izuku, take good care of him, Mom. Inko, don't worry, sweetie, he's in good hands. Izuku hugs Inko and leaves. The next day he arrives at Kamui Woods' agency. Izuku, Mr. Woods? Kamui, you came, glad you chose my internship. Izuku, well, I'm glad to be here, you're just the hero I needed to intern with to help me with my new abilities. Kamui, well, let's see what you can do, and I'll see where you can improve. Izuku's training with Kamui Woods went incredibly well. He learned how to spread out his vines to cover a large area, and how to restrain himself from harming someone if his temper gets in the way. We now go to the Hosu attack. Kamui, Flowey, you have permission to use your quirk. Izuku then uses his finger guns to shoot off the winged Noma's wings, and the Venus flytraps to capture the other two Noma. After he was finished restraining the Noma with Kamui's help, he saw Manuel looking for Ida, and then Izuku realized what he was doing. Izuku, that idiot. Sir, my classmate is in danger, I need to go and help him. Kamui, alright, but if you encounter Stain, hold him off until backup can arrive. Izuku, alright. Izuku then searches around for Ida, until he finds his class rep paralyzed and about to be killed by Stain. Izuku fires off some star pellets that cause Stain to back away. Izuku, Ida, what were you thinking? You could have gotten yourself killed. Ida, he crippled my brother, he needs to pay for that. Izuku, no, this is not the way. Do you think your brother would want you to do this? Ida was silent and looked down. Izuku, I know you're mad, but revenge isn't the right way, it will only leave you with guilt and regret. Ida, you're right, I'm sorry Midoriya. Izuku, glad to see you're willing to change, but right now I need to protect you. Stain, so you're the one who exposed Endeavor, I'm impressed by this, you are a true hero, and so I ask that you step aside. Izuku, I'm afraid I can't do that, if I do, then I'd be indirectly killing my classmate. Stain, very well, then prove to me that you are worthy of the title of hero. Stain charges Izuku. He did get some cuts into Izuku, but since he was a flower, Stain's quirk didn't work on him. Izuku used his flamethrowers to keep Stay at a distance so he couldn't get the upper hand, and he also used the pellets, plants, and vines to attack him. Once Stain got tired, Izuku used his vines to capture Stain and brought him to the heroes. Before Stain was taken away, he spoke to Izuku. Stain, hey kid, you're a true hero. Izuku smiles. Izuku, thanks, and I hope things will get better in the future. Stain, I'm sure they will, kid. Stain was taken away and Izuku returned to Kamui Woods. Kamui, great work back there, kid. Izuku, thanks, and I'm glad that Ida and Native are safe. Kamui, in any case, I just got a call from Sir Night's agency about a raid on a Yakuza base. Izuku, tell him we'll be there. Izuku and Kamui return to the agency to make preparations to meet Sir Night. Chapter 12, Eri and Time with Family. Izuku and Kamui Woods arrive at Sir Night's agency, and see a lot of heroes and their interns waiting for them. Izuku, are we late? Sir Night, no, you're just in time, have a seat. Izuku and Kamui take their seats and Sir Night starts the meeting. Sir Night, now, the reason I've called you all here is that we have reason to believe that Kaichisaki, aka Overhaul, is creating quirk erasing bullets. Flowey and Lemillion will patrol around the area of the base and gather information. As for the rest of you, we shall make preparations to raid the base after they return. Everyone agreed and Izuku and Mirio left to patrol. Izuku, so I hear you're a third year at UA. Mirio, oh yeah, I guess that makes me your senior. Izuku, well, I look forward to working with you, Mirio-senpai. They were talking to each other until Izuku felt something bump into his leg. He looks down and sees a silver-haired girl with a little horn on the right side of her forehead. Izuku picks the little girl up and holds her in his arms. Izuku, hello there little one, are you lost? Please help me. The two students were confused until they noticed the bandages covering her arms and legs. And Izuku was beyond angry. He felt pure rage. Eri, come back here. The girl flinched and her grip got tighter. The man was Overhaul, and Izuku knew that he was responsible for this. Overhaul, oh, you found Eri, now can you GH? Overhaul was then wrapped up in vines and being suffocated. Mirio looked in Izuku's direction. He felt the intense pressure Izuku was giving off. Izuku, how dare you harm such an innocent child, you are a monster. Izuku's grip got tighter, and tighter until Overhaul lost consciousness. Mirio informed Sir Night about this and was relieved that they were safe but angry at Izuku for engaging Overhaul like that. Despite that, he understood why he did it and decided to let it slide. They decided it would be best if Eri was put in Izuku's care since he was the one who saved her and she had grown attached to him. Izuku, do you hear that, Eri? I'm going to be your papa. Eri, yay papa. Everyone was confused about why Izuku would have Eri call him papa, but then Izuku explained about Echo to the heroes and they understood it better. After the internship, Izuku returned to his home to pick up Echo from Inko and introduced Inko to Eri, and she was very happy about having another grandchild in the family. After that, Izuku brought them both to UA where everyone was excited to see him. Izuku, Eri, these are my classmates, or your aunties and uncles. Everyone was really happy about this and Izuku felt happy knowing that Eri was safe. Because of Eri being in their lives, Izuku and Achiko's relationship grew a lot stronger, and they spent a lot of time taking care of their little angels. Eri, I love Papa, Mama, and little brother Echo. Izuku, and we love you too, Eri. Chapter 13, Final Exams and Mall. Izuku and Katsuki were in the fake city preparing for All Might to come and fight them. Katsuki, I don't think I'll be able to take on All Might. Izuku, true, but I might, if you can help provide some additional firepower. I might be able to take him down in my Omega form. Katsuki, good idea, now let's take him down. All Might lands only a few feet away from them. I am here to take you down. Izuku shifted to his humanoid Omega form and signaled for Katsuki to attack. Katsuki started launching a barrage of explosions while Izuku used his star pellets to try and overwhelm All Might. After that, Izuku used his finger guns to try and get a few hits on him, and finally, he dropped a barrage of napalm bombs which weakened the hero enough for them to capture him. Great teamwork back there, you two. Izuku, thank you, sir. This helps prove that you both are getting stronger every day. They both helped All Might back to the observation room and rejoined their classmates. The next day, Aizawa announced that the class would be going to the training camp, so they had 3 days to prepare before they had to leave. Mina suggested that they go to the mall to get some supplies and hang out with each other. When they arrived, they all went in different directions. Izuku asked Achiko to look after Eri and Echo while he went to get what he needed. After he was done, he sat down on a bench as he felt someone put their arm around his shoulder. Wow, you're the kid from the sports festival. I really enjoyed watching it. Izuku, thank you. I was actually just going to sit here and get some sunlight, but you're welcome to join. That's very nice of you, considering everything you put me through. Izuku already knew who it was, but he didn't want to start a fight. Izuku, so what brings you here, Tamura Shigaraki? Shigaraki, so you already knew who I was. Izuku, I didn't want to start anything. Let me guess, you're still mad at me for what happened at the USJ. Shigaraki puts his hand around Izuku's neck, making sure that only one of his fingers wasn't touching him. Shigaraki, yes, you know I could just kill you right now, but I'm feeling really generous, so let's talk. Izuku, alright, what did you want to talk about? Shigaraki, what did it feel like to be emotionless? Izuku knew that Shigaraki had a mole in Class 1A, but he never actually told anyone what it felt like to be emotionless. Izuku, to put it simply, it was one of the worst experiences in my life. Imagine not being able to be happy when you achieve something great, not being able to feel sad over the loss of a loved one, not being able to care when someone you care about dies in front of you, and worst of all, not being able to feel love and affection for anyone close to you. You try everything to make them think you are okay, but deep down, you know that you're only lying to yourself. You could easily kill someone and not care. It makes you feel like a monster to everyone. Shigaraki, who listened to Izuku's explanation, felt sad for the unfortunate boy and loosened his grip a little. Shigaraki, I never told anyone this, but before I got my quirk, I wanted to be a hero. Izuku's eyes widened. Shigaraki, believe it or not, it is true, but my father didn't like the idea. You see, my grandmother was the previous #1 hero before All Might. She was really amazing, and I wanted to be just like her. But he wouldn't allow it. He believed that she abandoned him as a child, and he resented all heroes for that reason. Because I wanted to be a hero, he would beat, abuse me, and even force me to live outside with the dog. That was when my quirk manifested. First, it was our dog, then my sister, then my mother, and finally him. I continued to blame myself for their deaths, but I relished in his death. I enjoyed killing him. Izuku, so what happened after that? Shigaraki, I wandered the streets begging for someone to help me. They either told me off or said that I should wait for a hero to come, but they also turned me away. I was crying in an alleyway all alone, and that was where he found me, my master. Izuku felt sad for the villain. He could even see a tear go down his cheek. Shigaraki, all I wanted was to actually feel like I'm wanted, and nobody even cared. After my failure, Master was really angry with me, and didn't even care that I was there. He then stopped as he felt Izuku hugging him, the same warm embrace he felt from his mother. Izuku, you've suffered so much, all to try and feel accepted by others. You're not alone. You think that you're a monster, but you're just misunderstood. Shigaraki then started letting out more tears and hugged Izuku tightly. After he calmed down, he let go of Izuku. Izuku, do you feel better now? Shigaraki, yeah, thanks for that, kid, and if you face off against Master, I'll be rooting for you. He walked off and Izuku smiled, thankful to have someone who shared his pain. After he finished getting some sunlight, he rejoined the class at a restaurant, and they ate together. Izuku still thought about Shigaraki, hoping to help him defeat his former master. Chapter 14. Training Camp Meeting AFO. Everyone was on the bus heading to the training camp. Echo and Eri were by Izuku's side. Once they arrived, Mandalay and Pixie Bob do their introduction. When the class tried to get back on the bus, Pixie Bob used her quirk to send them off the cliff. Luckily for Izuku, Echo and Eri were still on the bus since he knew that something was off about them stopping at the edge of a cliff. Izuku used his friendliness pellets and napalm bombs to help clear a path through the earth monsters, and they all arrived at the camp. Aijiro, man, that was tiring. Izuku, speak for yourself, I feel energized. Denki, well, you're a plant, you just get your energy from the sun. Izuku, true, but at least we got here in one piece. Mandalay, glad to see you all made it. We have food set up for everyone, but by tomorrow you'll have to make your own meals. We also have hot springs in the back, so after you're finished eating, you can relax in them for a bit. Everyone suddenly got their second wind and ate as much food as they could. Kota didn't hate heroes because he saw and heard everything Izuku said at the sports festival. Izuku's training involved creating more of his plants to decrease the amount of energy he would use in creating them. When the training camp got attacked, Izuku rushed off to find Kota while Aizawa looked after Eri and Echo. When he arrives at Kota's location, he sees Muscular about to kill him. Izuku then used his Venus flytraps to bite off one of the villain's arms while he used his vines to save Kota. Izuku, are you okay, Kota? Kota, yeah, but he's the one that killed my parents. Izuku looked at Muscular with anger in his eyes. Izuku, so killing two heroes wasn't enough for you, you have to go after their child as well. You're an idiot thinking that no one will try to stop you. Izuku then launched a swarm of napalm bombs at Muscular. He tried to block the attack with his fibers, but the blasts just burned them all. Izuku then finished him off with a single blow to the head. Izuku, come on Kota, we better get back to camp. Kota climbs on Izuku's back and he carries the boy back to the camp safely. When he faced off against the villains, he used everything in his arsenal to try and take them down, but was all for nothing when Mr. Compress used his quirk to capture the boy. Mr. Compress, I've got the target. A portal opened up and he walked through. Ida, they got Izuku. Katsuki, don't worry, if I know him, he's got a plan. Aizawa, in the meantime, why don't you help us round up these villains? We now go to the LOV base. Izuku woke up in a chair wearing quirk-canceling handcuffs. Izuku, nice place you got here. Shigaraki, you gave the master a lot of trouble, you know. Izuku, I know, but at least everyone else is safe. Magna, you make it sound like you wanted to be captured. Izuku, right on the nose there. Well, I think it's time we finally meet Izuku Midoriya. Izuku looks up and sees a man wearing a black suit and helmet standing in front of him. It is the #1 villain in Japan, All for One. Izuku, so you're the mastermind behind all this? AFO, yes, I'm quite fascinated by you, Midoriya. Your quirk is quite remarkable and powerful, so I'll make you an offer. Join me, and you can have anything you want. Izuku, do you really think I'm stupid enough to join you? Izuku, you really are an idiot. AFO, then I'll just take your quirk and kill you. AFO reaches out his hand when suddenly. Chapter 15, Finale and Epilogue. We return to when AFO was about to take Izuku's quirk, until they heard someone knocking on the door. Almight punches through the wall, and other heroes join him as they capture the villains. Shigaraki already knew about the attack, so he was safe from this. All for One, it's been a long time. AFO, Almight, I see you're still in pain. How did you find us anyway? Izuku, you can thank Tamura for that. or should I say Tenko Shimura. Tenko, I'm done following your orders all for one, it's time to end this. AFO indeed. AFO then forced Kurojiri to teleport Izuku, All Might, and himself to a warehouse full of Noma. The fight between All Might and AFO went the same as canon, only with Izuku there to help All Might. Eventually, AFO got the upper hand and managed to knock All Might down, just as AFO was about to end it. Izuku, who reverted to his flower form after being weakened, got in front of All Might and took the attack. What happened next surprised everyone, even All Might, and Izuku himself. He could feel everyone's hopes and cheers for the heroes to win resonating within his soul. It then appeared in front of him, and his eyes widened as it began to change. The white part of his soul covered the red part, then every soul trait he had began to merge with it, turning it into a rainbow soul. A bright light enveloped the boy, and when it faded away he saw that he had his human hands. He was human again. Izuku, everyone thank you never gave up on us heroes, and so we will not give up on you. Izuku turned to face AFO and gave a gentle smile. Izuku, all for one, this ends today, and to those who are wondering who I am, my name is Izuku Midoriya. A flash of light appeared and Izuku emerged from it in a much older form. He had goat-like horns coming out of his head, he had black markings on his face, and he wore a blue robe with the Deltaron on the chest. Izuku, and I am the angel hero, us real. Everyone cheered for Izuku and the fight commenced. Izuku summoned 2 swords and used them to block and parry AFO's attacks. He then summoned a storm that generated rainbow-colored lightning that struck AFO at random intervals. This was followed by a barrage of rainbow stars falling and attacking AFO, and tons of fireballs attacking AFO. He then pulls out a large cannon that shot out powerful bullets, and then it charged up into a powerful laser. AFO touched Izuku's chest and used his quirk, but nothing happened. Izuku, did I forget to mention, this isn't a quirk. I died saving Eraserhead and came back as a flower. Everything you saw me do was never a quirk. AFO, doesn't matter, you can't defeat me. Izuku, don't get cocky, I'm not even going all out, but since you're so persistent, I might as well. Izuku then vanished, and in his place, a giant goat's skull appeared and created a powerful suction force that pulled AFO in. Once the skull faded, Izuku re-emerged, but this time his legs fused together as 2 large rainbow wings appeared, and he smiled. Izuku, this is my full power, and I will use everything I have to end you. AFO, then bring it. Izuku raised his arms and he launched a barrage of missiles at AFO. Despite his attempts to dodge them, he was too badly injured to go on. Izuku, this ends now. Izuku then held his arms up and a powerful beam of energy attacked AFO. When it dissipated, all that was left of the villain was a pile of ashes. Izuku, it's finally over. Izuku then returned to his normal form and All Might helped support him. You did it, young Midoriya, you saved everyone. Izuku smiled and finally passed out from exhaustion. A few years later, Izuku and the class graduated from UA and became the new top heroes. Oyama was put under house arrest for being the mole, but he was welcomed back after it was all cleared up. Izuku and Tenko became good friends and both became teachers at UA. With Izuku teaching Class 1A and Tenko teaching Class 1B, despite them being friends, they still had that rivalry with one another. Eri and Echo both attend UA, and because of AFO's defeat, crime decreased to around 5%, with only some theft and robberies being the main crime, and Izuku couldn't be happier to spend his time with the ones he loves.
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.